Okay, hey Scotty. So how the wrists load in the golf swing, and then some different releases. So let's say you have a neutral grip, kind of what Tathata teaches, neutral grip. Set up, I'd like the left arm and the shaft to be in alignment. So how the wrists load, so through the takeaway, from a Nicholas, Norman, Watson. Watson has a little wrist set, but maybe Nicholas, Norman. You can see those guys are super wide. So one place to look would be when the left arm's parallel to the ground, so that would be called P3 or position 3 in the Morad circles. So wide. So Nicholas and Norman would look more like this, like the wrists aren't setting at all. Where if you saw more of like a Tiger 2000, some of those guys, the Morad guys, more of a rule of thumb is 90 degrees. So the wrists are gradually setting. Parallel to the ground, I'd want them, just outside my right thigh. If they hinge too early, they'll be inside the right thigh or on the right thigh. So just outside the right thigh, get you a good clean start and enough width taking the club back. Now notice, while I do this, I'm not moving off the ball, but right here, bang, okay. So about right there. Then up here, Jack and those guys would be wider here, and then the club would hinge naturally as the weight of the club gets moved in this direction. So think of gravity pulling the club head down. I'm not hinging. Okay, now gravity starts to pull it this way, it gets set. So that's how their wrists would hinge, but they're not trying to hinge their wrists ever. The force of the club causes the hinging of the wrist to happen. So they're trying to keep it wide, gravity pulls it, and then they move in this direction. Some of the Morad guys look a little more hinged here, and this way. So yeah, I don't know what's right and what's wrong. I'm more on the Nicholas side for the higher trajectories, and more on the Trevino side for the lower trajectories, and then the wedges. Jack's a phenomenal, obviously top side of the bag player, where Trevino's a better 8-iron, 9-iron wedges player. So they have different releases. So what that would look like is Jack, wide, he starts releasing from the top. So at impact, he looks more like this, because the club's going to come into here, it's going to work, it's going to get more released from the top, so it's going to be less held on to coming down, because he's getting it going this way. So that from here to here to here, the club works on this 180 degree circle here. But he's also going to be more released, and his upper body is going to be more this way, because Jack and Norman are hitting it more to the moon. So they'll look less turned at impact. They'll turn and thrust through here, and they'll look more this way. So those guys' follow-throughs looked very that way, because the club's getting fully released. So it's like feeling a draw in the hands and arms and a fade in the body is what Jack, Watson, Norman, Windows 7, 8, 9 kind of guys are doing. Trevino is more of a, coming into here, more turn, more lag, more forward shaft lean, because he's working on the handle differently. He wants the handle coming in this way, and he's gonna hold this thing off a little bit, so that he wants the handle, the club head, and the body to match through here. So down the line, that would look more this way. The hands come in here, club stays out. Where if I wanted to release it to hit it higher, it would have more of a true loft delivery at the bottom. So, at some point, you'll get to a place where you're hitting balls on the range and you're doing all of it. Low fades, I'm doing this with the handle. High draws, I'm doing this with the handle. High fades, I'm doing this and recocking it on this side. Low fades, I'm holding the handle off. So you're kind of training your hands and your relationship with your hands and the club head. Because my left hand, my right hand, they tell me exactly where this thing is. And so I know that this is the instrument that I'm using and this is what I have to deliver on the back of the golf ball. So how I deliver it is very much a function of training the wrist, you know, to do what you want and to create the arc that you want. So long story short, the wrists don't really do a whole lot. I don't like to see a lot of independent movement, because the more I independently move my hands, the more I change my arc. So the less consistent I am. Hope this helps. Think of your arc, think of your center, think of where you want your center on your arc, and then let the ball flight tell you what the picture should look like, not try to create the picture to match one ball flight. And then send me some swings.